Hey there, Internet. Keeve here, and welcome to the Cars and Keeve YouTube channel. In this video, we're going over affordable DI spotless tank systems. $125 right now, I believe. And it comes with the bypass and the resin. This is $220, but has a $20 off coupon right now, so it's $200. Comes with this bypass, comes with some Colombian Bam Bam. And look how it came. Could this have come from Colombia? No, I mean, probably not, but I mean, that's just the whole stick of the Colombian Bam Bam. This is just a long running joke on the channel. These things come just vacuum sealed in these little bricks, and it just looks like a kilo of something.
Cops are coming. There's a kilo of Colombian Bam Bam under the car.
And it's really good quality resin, not the highest quality resin out there because it's affordable price. But if you buy higher quality resin, you spend more money. In the long run, the money's the same. Vevor, I don't know what it came with. I don't know what kind of resin is in there. It's got to be pretty decent quality, but I don't know. They're pretty much exactly the same. Just like this original Spotbye, this is still $160. This one holds twice as much resin as this one holds, same as this one. You'll notice with the tops, the inside of these is exactly the same. You have a cone here, you have a tube, and a cone. Now this one's a little bit wet because I had this on the cart. I actually never had resin in it. I was just running it to see if it wouldn't leak or not. But you have your cone here that this can come out right there. This tube just seats in there. And on the inside of this tube here, there's a gasket that gives it a nice seal. Then you do that. And then this bottom piece right here is kind of glued to the tube. And this sits at the bottom of the tank. The water kind of comes in from the top right here, and it flows down, goes all the way to the bottom of the tank, and then feeds up through these slits, goes up this way. This one is exactly the same. Like I said, these are very familiar. This is a standard thing across the industry when it comes to these systems. So it's going to look just like this on the inside. So this already has resin in it, so there's resin all up on that, but it's the same cone, the same bottom piece, the same gasket, all of that. They both come with TDS meters. I lost the one to this one. Have no clue where it is, but we have the one for this. Now this is my HM Digital, which I'll use to verify because this is a calibratable TDS meter, and you can buy calibration fluid. This is 342 ppm calibration fluid. And I measured this at about 349 out of that 342. So it's pretty close, but this one was closer to 360 on this water. So this one's off a little bit more, but it's off on the upper end. Now the picture for the Vevor shows two gray hoses with some plastic fittings. Mine actually came with this white hose with these metal fittings and this black hose with these metal fittings. These are female and female, and then you have a male and a female. To go with those hoses, they give you two Y-splits. They're just shutoff valves, Y-split shutoff valves. You put one on one side and one on the other side, and then you can use these little levers to turn it off and turn it on to give you that bypass. Now, for a little bit more, obviously you could have it all in the head here, but I will warn you about this. But I had a difficult time making sure this didn't leak in the end. I Tefloned a lot. Have some due diligence and just realize that you're gonna have to play with this one a little bit to get it to not leak. But to me, tanks are better. They're easier. All of the resin isn't in two containers, it's in one container. So overall, it is slightly more efficient at cleaning. You have more surface area in the tank, which means you can run the water a little bit faster. There's more resin for that water to hit. But both of these exactly say 200 ppm gets you 560 gallons, which sounds about right because the smaller Spotbye DI system holds one bag of the Colombian Bam Bam. And we did 400-ish gallons at, I stopped it at like 6 ppm. I have about 55 to 60 ppm water, but it acts more like 100 ppm because there's a lot of chlorine in my water. And if this can do 200 ppm, if you cut it in half to 100 ppm, you double the amount. So, 1120. So if you have 400 ppm water, then you probably get about 280 or so. But if you see that if you're like 3 or 4 gallons per minute, your ppm is going up, just lower your flow a little bit, and it should go down a little bit and get a little bit more cleaning power out of what resin is left in there. Now, when it comes to spotless water, it's always recommended that this is used as your final rinse because you get no benefit out of it in the middle of your rinse unless you're like in direct sunlight and it's hot as heck outside and the car is drying before you can finish. Then that gives you the ability to use a leaf blower to dry your car off, because if you use a leaf blower on a car that has water with minerals in it, you're just spreading those minerals around the car and you are literally creating a haze and you're masking your coating. All those kinds of things can happen when you use a leaf blower with non-spotless water. Look at that vacuum sealed bag. Most of your distributors don't do that. And since it's vacuum sealed, it's very compressed, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. A lot of times it comes in a big old bag that you're gonna have to retie, make sure you get the air out of it. Let's check out the goods. So we're gonna do a little, oh, the air came out. Yeah, that's the good stuff. It says these weigh about 8 pounds, but it's really not 8 pounds. It's 5 liters. They say 8 pounds, but it's usually a little less. 7.82 pounds. This one is 7.82 pounds. Now, but what everybody wants to know is how many kilos is this? 3.54 kilos. That's a lot of resin. Bucket is tared to 0. This is gonna be fun. Take this top off. Resin is just many little balls of plastic. They are charged with negative and positive ions to attach themselves to the solids to not allow them go through the process. So it's actually pretty close, 15.14 pounds. There's a little bit left in here, not a whole lot. It's not enough that's gonna make a difference, just stuck to the sides. So we have this little scoop right here. I think this is like $4 on Amazon. It's just a food grade funnel. Ah. All right, there we go. And it'll build up, but you shake it a few times, it'll go down. Now, when it comes to putting this back on after you've done your refill, you need to go in there and make sure all the threads don't have any resin in them at all. There's something to use on that O-ring when you're trying to put it back on would be O-ring silicone lubricant. Don't use Vaseline or anything like that. O-ring silicone lubricant. And you're gonna feel some tension, but it's buoyant. You can put water in here as well to make it easier, but we're just gonna keep pushing until our threads touch the top of the tank. One thing I forgot to mention is the tube that's on the inside. You need to make sure that that's fully seated all the way up into the head as far as it can go before you put this on. Now these are not supposed to be tight. So when we get to a area of tension like that, I just want to go a little bit further, but not much, because I want to be able to take it off too. And the best way to take one of these off is just kind of bear hug it and turn it. It comes with some El Cheapo Teflon, which I don't normally use, but we'll use it in the video. I gave you a lot of it. Our little hoop. And this is the input side. That's pretty tight right there already with that ring. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't leak, because if not, we'll have to take the ring off. There's a lot of thread on this one. Yeah, we're still kind of loose on that ring. This ring doesn't move around at all. So yeah, you can lift it. I'm going to poke a little hole up here at the top to get rid of our vacuum. That way we have a nice corner here. Work that product down. Now I'm going to cut a decent size hole across here. Tell me that's not easier. Now we have our second bag. That's going to be a bit of a pain. Make that a little bit smaller. Oh my gosh. What an absolute disaster this is. Now we're going to take our cone and we're just going to work our way in just like we did with that one till we get to where the threads hit. Try not to use this to do any of this work because this is just plastic. But we've come to our kind of tension point, and I'm just going to take it and give it just a little bit more. Not a lot, because I want to be able to do a bear hug and take this off. Well, that's it for the overview and filling them up. Let's get into the fun of using them. Before we get to that point, check out the links below for anything in the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's have some fun. So let's hook up this bypass. And it is, like I said, it's a cheap bypass. And once again, I don't think a whole lot of thought went into how it works together. On the input and output, normally your threading would be female on the input side, male on the output side. So that way your hose coming from your wall, your spigot or whatever, is going to hook in or snap in on a quick release. And then on this side, it's going to connect to the female side, and then the male will go out to, pressure washer or whatever. So I'm saying female here. On the output side, it's male. So this is going to hook up to that. And what that does, your bypass is going to come in from here, or it's going to come in from here. Whichever one it is, if I open it up to allow the bypass, like I said, water cannot stop going back into the tank. Now on the input side, we're okay because we have a female. This male goes into that. That gives us the ability to shut off water going into the tank, and then water goes through the bypass just fine. So what we have to do is on the output side, we have to use the same male thread to allow us the ability to shut water off going in and allow that water to just bypass out. I mean, this is taking a ridiculous amount of fittings. So we know on the output side, we have a male. So we have to convert that to female. So this will connect, right? So now we can shut water off to the tank. Bypass goes through. The problem is whatever hose we're using is more than likely going to be a female on this side. So that doesn't work. Now we're going to need this adapter that converts male to male. So now we can hook up our garden hose. We're getting a fittinged out here. And I have found this issue with all of the DI bypasses that I've seen. Now, if you, on the output side, like I showed, if you want to put that female on there, that's fine. But if you want water to backfeed, that's fine. Then you're not going to need the adapters on this side. So here's our Ely spray gun, has a shutoff valve on it. But at the end of the Ely, it's a garden hose thread. So you can take one of their quick connects and put it on the end, the female side. So I can use the quick connect here like this. Now I'm going to put a shutoff valve at the end of this one so I can turn the water flow off to let it build up. So that way we can make sure it's not leaking anywhere. All right, we're just going to try bypass for right now. So these are out, so closed. These are in, so the water should go this way, go out, and then not go in, and then not come back in. Whoa, we've got a leak there. Oh, that's hand tight. Duh. It needs to be a little bit tighter. Whoa, on the hose. The one thing that I didn't tighten down properly. These are somewhat swiveled, so you can kind of work that back out so it's not all crazy weird. And there we go. Bypass is not leaking anywhere. We're good there. And I'll let the tank fill up first. We are leaking from that connection right here. And with it not being swiveled, now I have to take this hose off so I can spin this to make sure there's a gasket in there, or if the gasket's sealing properly. All right, so we had to call an audible here, and I used more Teflon tape than I've ever used on a garden hose thread. The Y adapters really that's coming with this just aren't really that great. This one is actually working better because it's using that double swivel that I have that's not leaking on this side. I've tried multiple gaskets. I've tried tons of Teflon, and it just, something's up with these threads. So we actually get to try my quick connect bypass, which I think is a great way because less bulk. Now these Ely quick connects they're big, but it's because, all the flow. So we have it on that side. We'll put a quick connect on this. Now, obviously there are much cheaper quick connect sets out there. I'll list them below if you want to use some. There's some nice stainless steel ones. Let's see, we're like that. And then we'll flow it. We're flowing water. We turn it off here when we don't want to flow any more water. We'll disconnect here, and there's our bypass. I think that's better actually. And that puts my nozzle here in a much better position than I would prefer it to be at. Easily get to this rather than being on a side or something. And these quick connects, I mean, it's quick. And having that shutoff valve here is going to allow you to slow down that flow going through it so you don't have too much water going through. So let's go ahead and see what our flow is through the tank here. That's a lot of flow. We're gonna run it to where it's 3.5 gallons per minute. There you go, 3.4 gallons per minute. And that measures a little low, so it's probably closer to 3.5. All right, so our input water. We have our meter that came with a Vevor. I totally lost the one that came with that. Let's see what this is. 62. And this one was reading higher. This should probably read a little bit lower. 56. So now we're going to hook up. I'm going to flow 3.5 gallons per minute, and then we're going to capture that. There we go. All right, so this is on the Vevor meter. 0, 0, 0. That's good. And if this one's 0, well, this one's going to be 0, 0. And one thing to make sure when you're using these is they have a hold button. And you need to make sure you look on the screen that it doesn't say hold on there. So that way it's, because if it holds, then no matter what you put it in, if it's set at 0 and set at hold, you'll never see anything but 0. Now, in previous videos, I've tested these fully to see how many gallons, but I don't feel like wasting water. My storage is still full, and I just don't feel like wasting 2,000 gallons. I could, because I know Colombian Bama, I know what it does. I could just test this one, but I don't want to waste any more water. It's just not worth it. But I know what these can do, and the good thing is this one is so cheap at 125 bucks that even if the resin's not even great, it's going to be well worth the money. And then you can fill it in with whatever you want. You're basically paying for the tank and the top. The resin was basically free. So now we can see what the bypass can do. Woo! Whoa. That's 9 gallons a minute. So then you have these other modes, and the best thing to do is to have the water off when you're switching this, which is why I always suggest a shutoff valve of some sort, whether it's a cheap one like this or a really nice one like that. So you can relieve that pressure, especially when you're taking the top off. Relieve that pressure. You should be able to just disconnect your quick connect, maybe let a little water out. There's kind of 2 auditory indicators on the backwash and the fast rinse as it clicks in and clicks out. But when you go into bypass or you go into filter, there is no click. So we go from bypass, we click into backwash, we click out of backwash, click into fast rinse, and we click out of fast rinse to filter. All right, that's 3.5 gallons a minute. Did we filter 0? Sure did. Zero ppm. I want to tell you though, I just was playing around off camera there for a little bit because things were just like weird. Because I saw it 3.5 gallons per minute. We got 0 on both. But then on the Spotbye, it started to creep to 1 ppm as I checked again. I'm like, something's not right here. So I kept checking the Vevor up to 5 gallons a minute, still running 0 ppm water. So I said, well, could it be the head? I swapped the heads. Now the Vevor head on the Spotbye did get it to about 3.7 gallons a minute before it starts to get to 1 ppm. I used a lot of water to figure this out. But at the same time, with the Spotbye head on the Vevor tank, we're still running 5 gallons a minute straight, no problem whatsoever. So what does that tell us? The resin in the Vevor is actually really good quality resin. Really good quality resin. And by swapping the heads, we're making sure that we're taking blow by or something like that out of account because it was working well here and it's working well there. So, wow. See, our Spotless maxed out at 2.5 gallons per minute, depending on your water quality. If you're higher ppm, you might not even be able to run that. But these, I think you're gonna be able to run a little bit more. So if you run an AR or something, you might have enough flow to run those. That you're gonna need about 3 gallons a minute flow going in to run the 2.2 or so that an AR runs. Say at active 2.0, you're gonna want about 2.5 at least to run that too. I mean, you don't want to cavitate. You don't want to match. You want to have a little more flow going in than the flow going out. The Vevor is going to get you at least that 1,000 gallons at the ppm that I'm at. And it's probably going to get you the stated 560 at 200 ppm. The Colombian Bam Bam in the Spotbye, I don't quite know if you'll be able to get the 560. 450. I say I would get about 850 to 900 out of it. So there is a slight difference. There you go. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out links below for anything in the video, and I'll see you in the next video. But what I'm thinking is about 3 to 4 GPM, depending on how much bottom out of that gasket and sealed properly. just like the CR Spotless